Hello everybody, it's so nice to see you again. And if you've never seen me before, it's lovely to meet you. In today's video, I'm going to be planting a 1940s style victory garden. But what is a victory garden? During World War II, the government encouraged people to plant their own vegetable, fruit and herb gardens in order to reduce pressure on the public food supply, as well as boosting morale on the home front. By 1943, the United States had 18 million victory gardens, and by 1944, 40% of America's produce was supplied by them. Because growing a vegetable seems to take quite a long time, I'm going to make 2 videos about this topic. This one about planting the garden and hopefully a second one about harvesting, if anything actually grows. Before I begin, I want to make sure you know that I'm not in the slightest a gifted gardener. I barely manage to keep my houseplants alive, and the only thing I've successfully planted are a few flower pots outside my window. But I've always wanted my own little garden, so while my nails are relatively short and unpainted for once, let's go for it. There was an overwhelming selection of seeds at the store, but these are the ones that I chose. I've decided to put my garden here, behind the house, in this delightful spot. Let's begin! Luckily for me, there's a big pile of wooden frames behind the house from way back when we used to have a vegetable garden. It's a lot heavier than I thought. Now I have to make sure that it's in absolutely the right spot. As you can see, I'm terribly indecisive. I've never been good at such permanent decisions. Now for the base layer. Mine comes courtesy of this dusty old hay bale. Since it's no longer suitable for our horses to eat, I think it's a good thing I'm stealing some of it. Here I am! At the very bottom of what's soon to be my garden comes a layer of cardboard to block out any potential weeds. All finished, and I have company. Then comes the hay, all in a nice even layer over the cardboard. Next comes the potting mix to fill the box up. Whoops! I'm making some good progress, but what's this? Night is falling. So it seems that I have run out of daylight, because it's not in fact daylight saving time anymore, so 6 o'clock means dark. I'm going to continue planting tomorrow. It's the next day, and Ice and I are ready to start planting. The last step before I add the seeds is some seed raising mix that is the absolute top layer of my vegetable patch. However, my first obstacle seems to be that I added too much hay. While frantically trying to pull it all out, I think to myself, perhaps instead of too much hay, it's a matter of not enough soil. I decide to shovel everything back into the wheelbarrow so I can execute what I thought was a fantastic plan. Time to start all over again, beginning with the hay. Since I've run out of soil to fill my garden up with, I have resorted to stealing some from my backyard. But the first site I try turns out being just sawdust, and the second one happens to be full of tree roots. No way I can dig there. As for the last place I tried, well, the soil was so solid I could barely make a dent. My digging days are over. I officially give up. Well, planting a vegetable garden is certainly no walk in the park. So instead of trying to dig out the rock-solid earth from my backyard, I'm just going to go into town and buy some. Yet another day passes and the vegetable garden still remains to be planted. See you next time in what I hope will be a successful planting session. Here we are on day 3 of my gardening extravaganza. This time I'm determined to get it right. However, with my luck, there seems to be a cyclone brewing, so fingers crossed I can get everything planted until then. Having finally purchased more potting mix, it's time I get those seeds planted. To avoid the mistake I made earlier, I bought not 1 but 2 bags of potting mix. Now there's no way I can run out. And of course I'm not going to forget the wheelbarrow. There's not a chance I'm going to waste that seed raising mix. Now to get rid of all that extra hay and the planting can finally begin. Time to study up and get my gloves on. As a beginner gardener, I'm very determined to get this absolutely right. There's no room for mistakes. After I planted the capsicum seeds, I cover them with a seed raising mix. Now I've got to measure the distance between them and the lettuce I'm about to plant. Who knew gardening could be so complicated? I am thrilled to find that I have the space to plant 3 lettuce plants instead of just 2 like I thought. And now the cucumbers are planted too, and my patch is done. Boy, am I proud! Just in time too, for the rain is starting. As for the herbs and microgreens, I have cleaned out and washed this old greenhouse so it can be their new home. I'll be planting 2 pots of each, and they will all live together on this cute little tray. With ice as moral support, I filled up each pot with potting mix. The rain has stopped, so I'm ready to plant. It's the same thing as with the vegetables. I make a small dent with my fingers, then I pour in the seeds. I finish the job with a handful of seed raising mix on top, to make sure they'll grow. And I'm careful to keep the pots with seeds away from the ones I haven't done yet. And repeat. And I'm all done. I never thought I was much of a gardening type, but this was so much fun. Time to bring the pots to their home. Now it's time for me to wait patiently and keep my fingers crossed, so that perhaps my garden might grace me with its presence. The presence being the vegetables. Hello everybody, I just wanted to close this video with a little update on how my herb garden is going. My microgreens have actually sprouted already and I'm very excited. Ta-da! And at the time I'm editing this video, there have been even more developments. Although tiny, my herbs have started to come through. And my vegetables are showing signs of life. After a very long thunderstorm and having to keep them covered, I had my doubts that they were ever going to appear. I am pleased to say that I even had some of my microgreens for lunch. And that's it. I hope I see you in my next video. Goodbye for now!